Hey everybody, welcome to the Fandom Post Radio Podcast. I am your engineer, Kate, and joining me this week is Kestrel.
Hi.
And Kane.
Hello, hello.
And Dieter is supposed to be here, but I think he forgot everything except for making anime titties, so...
Making that bank, you mean?
He's making bank. I'm jealous of his bank that he's making. Let's just be honest about it. It's not really fair. But I mean, considering he spent every waking moment working on that damn thing.
He's earned it.
He is the manga creator of titty games. He sleeps 3 hours a night, and that's about it.
Well, he doesn't have crippling body pains yet.
Not yet.
You don't make it until you the only way you can move around your house is by crawling along the floor.
Oh, he'll get there. Or he'll get some horrible, weird disease that only hits a small percentage of the population.
Yep. Only hits mangaka.
Yeah. He'll start growing
So this week is news, right? We're doing
all news.
We're doing the news desk.
All news all the time because it's been like a month and we have all the news.
Been well over a month.
Especially because I haven't really been paying attention, so probably a lot of this is going to be news to me. So the reaction will be organic as long as I know something about it.
You're so
Kane
ready.
reacts. Here we go.
This is gonna be awesome. I'm thrilled.
I feel like the only huge piece of news you're aware of because everyone has to be aware of it. But yeah, we'll see if there's anything fun in there. So I guess getting into that, we had, so like I said, some of this is well over a month old, which arguably doesn't make it news so much as history at this point. But I guess it's all announcements of stuff that does not exist yet, so I guess it still counts. So immediately after we last recorded 5 weeks ago, there were the two biggest announcements back to back. I mean, they're the most expected announcements, so it's not that big, but new seasons of Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, unrelated announcements, but very similar.
Very similar in the fact that they were both the hottest thing happening in anime.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, do we know anything about the new Demon Slayer? I mean, obviously, since the manga is finished, right, there's a general blueprint of what's going to happen, but who are the potentially red-shirted Hashira that are going to be following around our trio for the next season?
That's an excellent question. It is the Mist Hashira and Love Hashira, and it is the Swordsmith Village arc.
The Mist one was the sad boy, right?
Yeah, the quiet boy.
The quiet boy. So we have the quiet boy, and then we have horny girl.
Yeah.
Good combo. I'm looking forward to that.
I think that's all that's been announced about that. Other than that, it is confirmed to be a TV anime, not a movie or anything. Jujutsu Kaisen, I think the only thing confirmed about that is that, it's a TV anime as well, and it will air in 2023.
Is there a year for, is Demon Slayer the same, 2023? Or
I don't believe any time frame has been confirmed yet.
Oh, man.
I
don't know how I feel about that.
By 2023, I'm sure it'll come out. They wouldn't announce it now if it was I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. Maybe you'll get it in 2023, but it'll be the first episode on December 27th or something.
That's kind of what happened with this last one. The actual new arc didn't start until December.
Yeah, so you got it that same year, just towards the very tail end.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else to say about these?
I'm definitely looking forward to Demon Slayer. I think I've just grown comfortable with the fact now that its humor style is never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I just take it for what it is for the most part, but can't get enough of that sweet, beautiful action.
It's quite beautiful.
That happens.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that like more stuff happens with Nezuko as well. Like I'm interested to see how they handle her like demon transformation capabilities now, since like she went, turbo rage mode, but clearly couldn't control it. So I'm interested to see like how that's going to be handled, because Tanjiro can't just like allow that to happen, but you also would be dumb not to appreciate the value that ability has in combat.
Right.
But I couldn't even think of the first way you would start trying to train that, because you can't just be like, now transform.
It's shonen. There's always a way to train.
That's true. That's true. Just put it in a montage or some shit, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one episode back with the old guy in the woods, and they'll be all set.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that always the way?
Yep. All right.
I think that's all I got for that, yeah.
Yeah, so next piece of news announced right after that, and this is why I said I shouldn't assume 2023. This was right after we got the trailer and release date of the new Lord of the Rings live-action series. So we had gotten some news sometime last year that there would be a Lord of the Rings anime film, and that has now been confirmed for April 2024. So we're getting the new live-action series this year, but still gotta wait 2 more years for the anime.
This is so weird. Like, this whole time I thought that Warner Brothers had somehow gotten the rights to supplemental material, because all of a sudden it was like, seemed like the gates had opened, it was like, oh, then they probably, have access to some of this other stuff. No, they don't. They still only have access to, like, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and the appendices. That, like, goes for, like, everything. So they're not drawing from, like, similar, however you pronounce that book, and the Unfinished Tales and all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, they're just making their own stories that Tolkien never wrote, right?
Yeah, which is even weirder, because if you're the Tolkien estate and you're like, oh, I don't want them having the rights to this stuff, it's like, but you can go make up all this bullshit you want. I'm like, wouldn't you rather they, like, try to be somewhat faithful to, like, what the source material is? I don't know. People are weird about their stuff sometimes. It's very strange.
I'm hoping the anime is an isekai.
Oh, God.
Like, something like it's titled, like, Lord of the Rings, I got bored, so I decided to become corrupted by the One Ring.
Nice. Yeah, if the first scene is some Japanese NEET walking home from a convenience store and then the headlights of a truck come on in the distance, then you know what you're getting into.
You know you're in for a fucking ride, baby. That's what you know you're in for.
Yep.
I had forgotten all about the anime thing, because I know there was also a video game that was supposed to happen, I think through Amazon, and that got shit canned. And then, yeah, this live action thing that, of course, has all sorts of, like, trolls and shit talking about it, because it has a woman and a black person in it. How dare they? But,
and a woman who is a black person.
Yeah, oh my fucking god.
And she's a dwarf.
Unwatchable.
Without a beard.
Ugh. So I know that got a lot of quote-unquote controversy when it came out, and I'm just like, man, I don't know, I have a weird thing with Lord of the Rings, because I really like it, and I like the world. Like, I've seen the movies, we have a nice copy, of the book trilogy, and I've, played Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, so I've played some of the, I guess what you would call extended universe content. Same with, like, the Third Age back on the PlayStation 2. Like, I've always liked it, but I never I never considered any of it, like, sacred ground, I guess. I was just like, this is a fantasy, a really well fleshed out world, and why don't you just have fun inside of it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's my attitude for a lot of stuff, and it's never, like...
Well, it's Lord of the Rings. It's been mined for every other fantasy story ever since it came out. It's like, it's everywhere.
Say, like, I refer to, all fantasy over the past however many decades as just Tolkien mods.
Yeah, basically.
They're all just taking Tolkien's concepts.
It's basically like all modern fantasy is drawn from basically like 3 source materials, and like the first one being Lord of the Rings, like the second one being like Jack Vance stuff, and then like the third just being like literally like bits and pieces of everything else, and therefore modern fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, you're already basically riffing off of Tolkien's work for any other high fantasy world you create, so why not make it part of the established universe? And I mean, the movies already diverged from the books in some ways, so like, just building off of that, you don't have to consider it a corruption of the original.
Yeah, so like I saw the trailer for the live action. I thought it looked okay. It reminded me of The Hobbit in a bad way.
There was so much stuff, yeah.
And a lot of CGI. Like a lot. And I know, at least for me personally, that was a problem for me with the Hobbit movies, on top of their insane pacing, because they took one book into 3 movies, but also just like the incredible amount of pretty shitty CGI for the battles, especially when compared to the originals, which did have CGI in them, but there was also just a lot more practical stuff. And when I watched the trailer, I was just like, this is a lot of CGI going on. So I'll probably still give it a watch, though. I mean, why not? Could be good. I don't have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have Prime, so I will watch it. Shocking, I know. I never watch anything, but...
That's true. All right. Next piece of news. We don't talk about a lot of manga licenses on this show, but
we probably
this is one we've all been waiting for many, many years. Seven Seas has licensed Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko for omnibus release.
The only thing that was, like, God, I used to request this on every single licensing survey, to the point where I finally just stopped filling out the licensing surveys. For like 5 years straight on Seven Seas licensing surveys, I was just like, YKK. And like, eventually I gave up, because I figured everybody else had given up. And I probably shouldn't have, because in retrospect, they did license and release Dragon Half. So I knew anything was possible with them licensing things. But, hey, I don't have to bug Ed about this anymore. God, he hated me for that. He hated everybody who kept asking for it. But
what's the title of this again? I think I know what it is, but I want to take a guess.
It's the isekai show that you were thinking of.
Is it isekai or Iyashike?
Sorry, not Iyashike.
Yeah, I think this is Iyashike, not isekai. Because if I remember when I did my Iyashike panel, this is the one thing that people kept telling me that I should read or watch, but whenever I'd ask how, they'd be like, I don't know.
Right.
This is not available.
Yeah, it's not available. I'd be like, well, I'll thank you for the suggestion, but if I can't get it, I can't watch it, so or read it or whatever. So this is really cool that this is happening. I didn't realize it was that much in demand, because the only way I knew about it was from doing that panel, and then only a couple people said something, so I didn't realize it had actual like appeal outside of people specifically looking for that genre.
I mean, it's like one of the great white whales of like manga licensing in this country. It was one of like the last holdouts of how come this is, and then it just got to the point where it's like, this is too old. This is never going to get licensed. It's too old. And who knows what the source material is in, whatever state it's in or whatever. But, and then I can't remember what Ed just didn't want anything to do with it. He had a personal grudge. I don't know why. But like, it was just out there. No one was licensing it. And probably because, that is a hard genre to actually sell in English.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same reason that Area, like, went through...
It took 3 tries.
3 tries to get the whole damn thing out in English. It's like that slow slice of life stuff. It's like people like probably the slowest selling category of anything for the longest time, and no one wanted to, I guess, bother with it. So
yeah, it's definitely in the same category as Arya, and yeah, it's been very highly rated for many, many years, and lots of people have wanted it, so I'm very happy.
And for those that want to know what this title is, the title basically is Yokohama shopping list. Although I guess they call it trip. It's trip. It should really be shopping list because that's the only thing that makes sense in English. Whether that's the direct translation or not. It's a post-apocalyptic story about robots living their day-to-day lives in a Earth that is very pastoral and nice and doesn't have any people left in it. And those robots just happen to look like, cute girls. So
Coincidentally,
humanoid, android robots, people. So yeah, everything's gonna be all right, even if the planet is not. You're not here on the planet anymore, kind of situation.
Is it kind of like that episode of was it Kino's, where she goes to that like city that is mostly abandoned and run by robots, and it's like oddly relaxing because there's only like 6 people who actually live there anymore, and the rest is just like cleaning robots and traffic robots doing their like quiet daily duties.
It's more. It's more chill than that. I mean, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen that episode. It was just people are gone, and then she left.
It kind of did once you find out why they were all living a million miles away from each other.
Well, I imagine this has to be
land of visible pain.
But I mean, this thing is also post-apocalyptic, so yeah, it's chill, but it's because all the humans died. So it's chill, but also with grave circumstances behind it, so it's not that much different. Like, as a core concept. Yeah, because as I'm reading about it, it says the ecology collapses.
I mean...
I got you! But either way, yeah, I'll look forward to reading this. I saw it got an anime too, but like a really short one.
Yeah, just a little OVA.
An OVA made a million
2
years
episodes. Ago. Yeah, 28 minutes each. Just came out in 1998. But the manga went on a long ass time. Technically.
Yeah.
Because it says...
Manga ran from 94 to 2006.
Consistently? Or is it just like it goes to 2006 because like the last volume was released in 2006, but there was like a 10-year gap between the second to last and the last?
Well, no, it looks like it's probably consistent, right? Because it was monthly and 140 chapters, so yeah, I think it was consistent.
Ran monthly afternoon, so
Yeah. Takes a lot of months to release that many chapters, yeah.
Are they going to be nice additions?
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know if they're going to be
17 doesn't really do big collector's editions, but they'll probably try to match whatever the Japanese bunkabons look like. Probably. At least that's what they tried to match what the Dragon Half collections look like, down to the shiny foil covers and stuff, so...
They say it'll be the entire story combined into an oversized 5-volume set. 5 large trim omnibus editions. So yeah, there'll be omnibuses and they will be big pages. So yeah, it should be pretty nice.
So it'll be kind of like those Blame omnibuses?
I don't know. I haven't seen those.
They're quite large.
Yeah.
Their physical size would probably take up, at least height-wise, most of its like standard bookshelf kind of deal. I think Akira had big volumes like that too at one point, didn't they? Like big, tall, honking things.
All the standard releases had big volumes. Same thing with Nausicaa, and then both of them got big, fancy hardcover box sets as well that were equally huge pages.
Yeah, I have some things that are pretty damn big. What do I have that's huge? Stuff that Viz released.
Yeah, I've got that Ghost in the Shell set that's quite large and also hardcover and came in like a slipcover box.
I think the biggest manga edition of anything I have is the Thermae Romai collections that Yen put out that are massive hardcover books, and they weigh a fuck ton. They're so hard to handle.
Yeah, I've got...
They're like coffee table books.
Right, exactly. Yeah, these are all kind of coffee table books, all my big manga volumes. I've got Akira, Attack on Titan, Berserk, Blade of the Immortal, Cardcaptor Sakura, Dragon Ball Full Color, Nausicaa, and Spice and Wolf. Those are all very large.
Either
this
way,
will be a quality edition.
I'm stoked. People, it was so funny when they announced this. Like, you looked at the Twitter comments, it was just people shouting, "Oh my god!"
Right?
Because nobody thought this was going to happen. Quite a few more people that were shouting "Oh my god" than when I was shouting "Oh my god" about Dragon Half. Because I think I was the only person in the universe shouting "Oh my god" about Dragon Half.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, very exciting. I can never I always have to pay attention to 7 Seas because every now and then it's here's your titty title, do, and then it's this classic thing that you've been waiting for forever.
Right, there's one of those a year.
Resulting in a bunch of people screaming, "Oh my god!"
The titty titles pay for those.
Exactly.
And sometimes they're titty titles that are things you've been waiting for forever, like Dragon Half. So, 7 Seas, keep winning.
The titty title you've been waiting for forever.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that was basically what that is. It's this is kind of on brand for you, but also old as hell.
Yeah.
So.
Movie distribution companies do that shit all the time too. Like the boutique ones that release 6 or 7 obscure sexploitation movies, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Oh, by the way, we have a 4K of The Apartment," and people will just lose their fucking shit over it. Or Criterion just got Shaft today, which is one of the best things I've read in 2 years. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so that is not an unheard of practice in media distribution and releasing companies to give a bunch of that stuff that sells so that they can afford to get that 1 or 2 historical release.
Oh, DJ's here. Should we let DJ in?
Sure.
Kestrel's so excited. I guess we have to let him in. Come on, DJ. Oh god, okay. He'll be here in a few minutes.
Alright.
We can keep talking.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the next news. So, next piece of news is the Dragon Ball superhero movie, which is a terrible title, has been confirmed for summer 2022 release in North America. I'm going to put an asterisk on that as of today.
I know about this one too.
So we'll put a pin in that and come back to that later, but if anyone has anything else to say about that movie, any anticipation of it, you can make your voice known now.
I think it kind of looks like shit.
Yeah, Broly looked like the most amazing thing. Why would you switch to this gross CG hybrid?
Yeah, it kind of looks like what the Xenoverse games looked like on early PS4. I saw some of the screenshots with Gohan, and I'm psyched that Gohan's gonna get some screen time where he's not just jobbed like Vegeta all the time, so that Goku can come in and finish it off or whatever. So it looks like he's gonna be a main focus kind of person. But yeah, it looks kind of shit.
Yeah.
Visually, and I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know the choice behind it either, necessarily, other than the obvious ones like CGI. It tends to be cheaper.
It's just so weird because Broly was such a big hit not that long ago, and it was the exact opposite. I mean, I guess they got a bunch of CG shit in the big battles, but for the main aesthetic, yeah, it's such a bizarre choice. It's never been applied to any Toriyama stuff before.
Yeah, and at the very least, they could have, I don't know, made it look better than Budokai Tenkaichi cutscenes.
Definitely looks like a Dragon Ball Z video game. And it's the worst title, too.
Oh, yeah, my god, is it awful.
So not that excited about this movie, but we'll see.
No, I'm not necessarily either. I hope they don't do my boy Gohan dirty.
They always do.
But they always fucking do. They always do. He gets to be the most powerful, coolest person in the whole universe for like one episode, and then he does something stupid. So, yeah, we'll see. Especially with the, delay and everything, but whatever.
Spoiler.
Eh. It's all over.
Yeah, I know. Alright, how are we going to handle this DJ situation?
We can just pretend that I've been here the whole time. Just haven't had anything to say.
But what about the first 10 minutes where we just talk shit about him the whole time?
I mean...
There's a little bit of that.
There's a little bit of that. What? You've just been here the whole time? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
Yeah, it's fine. Like, I just took it.
He was just taking it like a roast.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's move on to the next thing, because I don't think anyone else cares about the Dragon Ball superhero movie.
Well, DJ, do you have any thoughts on new seasons of Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, the Lord of the Rings anime, the licensing of Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko, the Dragon Ball Super movie?
Most of those, no. I didn't know Lord of the Rings was getting an anime. That is news to me.
Yeah, we actually talked about the announcement of that sometime last year, but it's been confirmed that we won't be getting it until April 2024, and it is a feature film, which was also confirmed last year.
Oh. Have they said who is doing it, or is that still...
Yeah, that was in the original announcement. It is Production IG, directed by Kenji Kamiyama.
Okay, well that has potential.
Totally, yeah.
Is it just normal Lord of the Rings story, or are they doing like Hobbit shit, or...
It's something else in the universe.
Okay.
I don't think it's any story that's been covered.
All right. Yeah, so there's that. That sounds cool. Always down for more Demon Slayer, and I like Jujutsu Kaisen. I feel like I will like that series a lot more like once it gets further into it, though. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. Next piece of news, another manga licensing announcement, actually, which is a manga by one Hayao Miyazaki called Shuna's Journey. He released it in 1983, and it was kind of a prototype for Princess Mononoke, as well as some elements of Nausicaa. He had already began Nausicaa the manga at that point, but it included some elements that were later incorporated into his Nausicaa movie the next year. So that is coming out on November 1st.
I missed this license completely.
Well, that's why we have this show.
I know. This is my surprise news announcement in this whole batch of things. First Second's a cool company. They release a ton of like graphic novels, usually aimed at a younger audience, but it's like, God, they release so much stuff. I'm on their website right now, just looking back through this stuff.
I've never heard of First Second before this.
They are very good. They're very, very good publishers of things, and their probably best known and best selling title is they released the Adventure Zone comics for the McElroy
from Mabim Bam.
Yeah. From that stuff. So which has probably made them a buttload of money considering how well that stuff sells. But yeah, for the most part their market is like, middle schoolers. And they release a huge run of middle schooler stuff. They're probably one of those companies that like makes bank in the Scholastic book sale thing.
I was just going to ask, do they still have Scholastic book fairs and book orders?
I think so. They probably do.
They fucking better. That was some of the best shit.
That was the only way to get books back when I was like a kid, because we didn't have many bookstores in town. And we're kind of
that was the only way to get Shonen Jump when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's how I got my first few Shonen Jumps.
The Scholastic Book Club still exists.
Nice.
Just glancing at it. I went to their web, like Scholastic, and the first thing that pops up are those flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you still, still get the physical flyers in 2022?
These are these are look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is so great. This is so great. It literally has not fucking changed.
I loved the fucking Scholastic Book Fair. It was the best day in the entire year.
100%.
Hell yeah. Get Shonen Jump and then whatever newest cheat code manual came out.
I just always admired the scary stories to tell in the dark books and didn't have any money, so I couldn't actually buy them. So it was just like I'd read like one or two stories and be like, all right, that was fun. And then like I Spies were like, that was the holy grail in my school. Like if you had an I Spy book, you were the fucking coolest.
I bought so many Garfield collections out of the Scholastic Book Fair catalogs. Holy shit. Want to know what the first graphic novels I collected were? Garfield strip collections.
Interesting.
Dating myself. More so than I usually am.
As they talk about it, Garfield strip collections in actual books. Man,
Garfield was good back in the 80s.
Could you even enjoy those as a kid?
Yeah, Garfield was good back in the 80s. Garfield only turned to shit in like the 90s, late 90s, when it was clear that Jim Davis was just collecting a paycheck anyway. At that point, he didn't give a fuck.
He was stacking them dollars.
Yeah, basically. He'll get there at some point, DJ. He'll just be like, yeah, whatever. Titties. People are like, yeah, titties. And he'll be like, yep, collect the check.
That'll be $600,000.
All right.
The only thing I had one more thing to say about it, that was just looking at least the Amazon entry for it. It looks like a really nice copy. It's like hardcover. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of nice production value in it. It's not just like a here's the book, now deal with it. Like it's really nice looking. Also, yeah, you can already see the inspiration for stuff like Nausicaa and things like that, because there's like a Yakul-esque thing on the front cover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Made its transition straight into Princess Mononoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's Miyazaki. He uses a lot of the same concepts, so yeah, it's cool to have this finally coming out.
I'll be picking it up. That's cool.
All right. Next piece of news. Big piece of news. We are finally getting new Spice and Wolf anime that is not weird VR shit.
More squeeing for me.
Yeah.
It's like, is it like a remake? Like I heard something about this.
I don't think anybody knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't think it's been confirmed.
Nobody knows. There was one promo image that came out. It looked pretty. There's so much. I mean, there's so much I want out of this. I don't care if they go back and tell it over from the beginning. I don't care about that. I just want the English voice cast back for whatever release it gets.
I am excited to finally consume this series in some form. Because I've always known that I'd like it, but I have literally zero knowledge of anything Spice and Wolf, except for Holo's cute.
Yeah, I certainly want to see it go past where the previous anime did, but I think I would be for a remake as long as that's part of it, that it goes further, because the anime adaptations we got were good, the content's good, but the production values were not always phenomenal, so if that could be corrected with a fresh start, that would be even better.
So kind of like a Fruits Basket type situation?
Yeah, totally. A full reboot. Yeah, I mean, all the content is complete now, so it could totally happen.
That sounds
neat.
Few
seasons over a few years, yeah.
Yeah, because the original adaptation they adapted 1, 2, skip 3, did 4, volume 4 or something. I don't know, it was something 4 and 5 or something. They skipped a volume. They did one of those, like, we're gonna skip this volume, it's not important, even though it introduces a character that's important later, but
yeah, so I guess based on that, it would make sense to reboot it at this point. Been a while.
Is this just like a straight up romance type thing? I like DJ, know very little about it other than there's a girl wolf character whose name I think is Hollow. Is that right?
Holo. Yeah, Holo.
Holo. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
it's about economics.
It's about what do you call it when something's very small? Microeconomics?
Microeconomics.
Yeah.
Macro is when it's very big.
Yeah. It's microeconomics of trading in a. It's not really middle age. It's more verge of what the hell? What's right after the Middle Ages? Renaissance?
Sure.
That kind of 1400, 1500-esque, early 1600s time frame, like, sort of technology. Like, there are guild houses, and there are big trading companies and stuff like that. But the story follows a traveling merchant who is basically, like, he's got a cart and a horse. He's been going around, picking up, like, goods in one town, driving it to another, trying to sell it at a profit. And he rolls into this one village at festival time and buys a cart full of apples to take to, like, the next town over, and finds a naked girl with a wolf tail and wolf ears sleeping in his cart, eating his apples that he just bought. And she introduces herself as Holo the Wise Wolf, goddess of the harvest and the wheat. And then she says, I'm coming with you because I'm bored and they don't believe in me anymore here. So he picks up this self-proclaimed wise wolf who is very into economics for some reason, and they travel around trying to make money, and spend a lot of time staying in inns and talking to people, and occasionally getting in trouble with various authorities and in the church, because you're wandering around with a pagan god, and that's probably not so good when the church is an established force in their world. And their modest dream is make enough money to open a store. So that's Spice and Wolf in a nutshell.
Sounds cute.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's very well written.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like, from the outside, it just looks like, oh, cute wolf girl, yay. But, like, anytime anyone who has actually experienced the series talks about it, they always talk about that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I read every tiny character printed on that massive 17-in-1 hardcover.
Not the way
edition.
to read that series. Jeez.
And yeah, it was great content. So I hope that this adaptation can do it justice.
The original adaptation had a dub with J. Michael Tatum and Brina Palencia as the two leads, and they were just knocking it out of the park, and it was so good. And if this ever gets, dubbed, I hope they can get them back as the two leads.
They certainly can.
We are down to what, one dubbing facility? No, one dubbing company. I don't know. Funimation works everywhere now, so I know exactly. Tatum lives in LA now and stuff, and
yeah, but you see any new cast announcement, and you've got actors from Dallas, Houston, LA, New York, Canada. Like, with COVID and everyone recording remotely, where you live does not matter at all.
That matters nothing anymore. So
yeah,
and they've always been really good about trying to get back people. So
yeah,
fingers crossed. Please be awesome.
You know how Damian Clark moved to LA and stopped doing anime like 20 years ago? He's back in Fruits Basket. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I'm excited. I hope it's awesome. I hope it runs longer than the original. It can. They could do it.
That Fruits Basket model of 1-2 core season every year for however long it needs to run would be perfect. Perfect. All right. Next piece of news. So, I think I probably mentioned the last time we recorded that I was super into Pokemon Legends Arceus, and less than a month after the release of that, there was this year's Pokemon Day celebration, and they had a Pokemon Presents for that, and announced the next generation of the franchise, Gen 9, with the new pair of games that will be starting that, and they will be released in this calendar year, and on the Switch, of course. So yeah, did not take very long to get that.
I have not played. Well, I played Pokemon Shield, but I know nobody liked that. So I can't really comment on like Pokemon in particular because I don't think I played a game since Leaf Green.
I think if it's the same old shit, I will probably not spend any time on it. If it's like the Arceus model, which I think is less likely for this, but it looks like it has maybe some elements of it. But if it's more of that model, then I'd be into it. But the old model from the first 25 years, especially the past few games that have come out following that formula, are just not worthwhile. So yeah. And speaking of Pokemon Legends Arceus, in that same presentation, they announced a new online anime series set in the Hisui region from that game. So they've been doing more of these lately, where they have new, usually online anime set outside of the continuity of the very long-running TV series that we all know. So yeah, that could certainly be good, has potential. I'll probably check it out.
How many of these Pokemon series have actually been good and not just like a way to sell you the new games?
I mean, the ones that spend a little more time on them, like, so Pokemon Origins, if they had made that a full series instead of just 4 episodes, that's like my ideal Pokemon anime. And it's nostalgia porn. But I mean, at least it wasn't like promoting an active game at the time. It was just nostalgia porn, which is fine. But yeah, that was the shit. But it was 4 episodes to cover the entire original red and green or blue, yellow games from Gen 1 or Fire Red, Leaf Green. So it was just like a few little points and then they just rushed through the rest of it. But that was just made with so much love, and I would love to see a full series of that. But for these other ones, yeah, you know, they're not great generally.
Wait, hold on. Unrelated to anything except for Scholastic Book Clubs, I'm looking through their flyers, and I found a book that is the graphic novel version of a comic that started as a webcomic like 15 years ago that she stopped making and then stopped, reworked it, and has released it as a book. And I'm looking at this going, wait a minute, this looks vaguely familiar. I looked at the author's name and I'm like, oh shit! Yeah, so now I'm excited I may have to buy a book.
Man, look at Scholastic still delivering for you after all these years.
I know, I didn't know she had gone through and redone this and turned it into another novel. I'm shocked. Now I kind of want to dig up the original version. I know it's been scrubbed from the internet, but I'm going to try.
All right, okay. Since Kate obviously does not listen to the podcast while recording it,
I'm listening. It was Pokemon. I don't care.
That doesn't mean you should interrupt it with something completely unrelated.
I was very excited. Anyway.
I don't care about your excitement.
Aww.
Yeah, get fucked. Next piece of news is the big piece of news. So, once upon a time, there were some companies in this industry: Anime on Demand, Viz Media Europe, Manga Entertainment, Anime Lab, Wakanim, Elation, Verve, Funimation. Now all of these are simply Crunchyroll. Not only has Funimation's acquisition of Crunchyroll kind of gone in the opposite direction in terms of streaming, but in terms of all branding, Funimation will no longer exist. They are being renamed to Crunchyroll in every facet. Everything is being relabeled as Crunchyroll. The new slate of releases for June have only Crunchyroll logos, no mention of Funimation. Yeah, we were hoping the streaming would follow this pattern, but everything is going pure Crunchyroll. A company that I vividly remember 14 years ago, like I was yesterday, being a pirate site that people were getting upset about, namely Funimation, because they were starting to get investments from venture capitalists and starting to actually work with official companies and get exclusive content. So, yeah, how the tables have turned. In fact, in that time, I don't think there are many companies left from back when I was first following the industry. Like, Viz releases Naruto and Bleach and Inuyasha. Right Stuff still has their Nozomi brand for publishing. Kind of. Not really
when was the last
anyone.
time anything good came out of that?
Yeah, Bright Stuff mostly just publishes Gundam stuff through Sunrise now, or from Sunrise. So
they did. Oh, what the hell is the name of it? Emma.
They did Emma. That's right. Yeah, they had a few Kickstarters in the past few years for Arya and Emma, which were titles they had already released long ago.
Yeah.
But just to dub them and get them on Blu-ray. So yeah, I would say there's virtually no one who's still a major player in the anime industry from 15 years ago.
I mean,
so they've all gone out of business or been consolidated.
Right. Become Crunchyroll,
or had to rename their company.
Yeah, right.
Or, dip their toes in and dip their toes out. Looking at you,
right.
Nipponichi America.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like I didn't see them totally just killing off Funimation as a brand.
Nope.
I could understand why they probably did it. Because in the terms of home video market, it's just old bees probably like us that bother purchasing physical media. Mm-hmm. And we're already locked in, and we're already going to know that, Funimation is being rebranded Crunchyroll. So the only way they can really go is, well, might be a way to, get people to be like, oh, there's a show I watched on whatever, here's an uncut version of the show I watched on whatever, with the full English dub and whatever, and oh, I recognize the name Crunchyroll. I don't recognize the name Funimation. This is going to be the same thing I watched on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it's bizarre to think of anime fans not recognizing the name Funimation when they've been like the superpower of the industry for so long, especially with stuff like Dragon Ball Z. Like, how can you separate that from Funimation after all this time? But yeah, I mean, I expected it for the streaming, and I was counting on it because, as we've talked about many times, Funimation streaming is garbage. Crunchyroll's is great, especially their subtitles and subtitle formatting. And yeah, I mean, streaming is what new fans care about. Simulcasts, instant gratification, and Crunchyroll has spread their brand very successfully with the Anime Awards, Crunchyroll Expo, really every major convention at this point. Crunchyroll Originals, they've got a ton of original titles. Some of them they're the sole producer of. So yeah, I guess I can see why, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of it's completely nuts.
Yeah,
I think it's safe to assume that positions will be eliminated.
Yeah,
I don't think the Funimation's headquarters and their brand new recording studio is going anywhere. They need that for dubbing, and they will continue to dub things because, despite what we may think, there is a large contingent of people that do only watch stuff in English. So,
right. And I think that's the contingent that has kept on the Funimation bandwagon for all this time, because generally the dubs have been like exclusive to Funimation's platforms.
Yes, and those will be shifting back over to Crunchyroll for near future. So, soon to be collector's items. Any DVDs, Blu-rays, DVDs, who buys DVDs anymore? Any Blu-rays that have Funimation branding on them? Yeah, crazy. It's when you it's like we won. Did we win? No, and we don't exist anymore. The weird thing is, and this is so typical for corporate America, hearing stories coming out of Funimation where a bunch of people were like, we have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we learned at the same time as the employees.
Yep. And that's so very typical of corporate America. Somebody up there in Sony, was doing, research. They're probably running a bunch of fucking YouTube surveys going, which one of these companies have you heard of? Mm-hmm. And a bunch of people were like, Crunchyroll. And therefore they were like, well, that's where the brand cachet is. We're going with that. And lo and behold,
yeah, they move fast. Like, they announced on March 1st that, this was happening. In the initial announcement, it wasn't that clear that all Funimation branding was going away. But in like the official press release, there was one line at the bottom that was like, by the way, Funimation Global Group is changing its name to Crunchyroll LLC and beginning the process of rebranding. I was like, oh, it's not just streaming. Okay, interesting. I wonder if it'll still be home video. And then 2 weeks later, the June slate came out. Nope, no mention of Funimation anywhere.
Nope.
So,
just a quick FYI, we're changing everything.
Yeah, by the way, Funimation is dead after 30 years, despite being the company that acquired Crunchyroll. And yeah, I was not expecting the home video brand to go away before the streaming. Like, you still got to go to Funimation to watch like some shows this season. I still have to watch Sasamiya on there.
I have one show on Funimation this season.
Same. They still, they haven't moved everything over yet, obviously. So I had to watch the new Mushoku Tensei OVA that just came out exclusively on Funimation. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. It'll be interesting. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like how this all, like what this all looks like a year from now. Mm-hmm. Probably won't look that different, except, I wonder if they're gonna. Oh, it's weird. I don't know what they're gonna do about the website situation.
I hope the Blu-ray cases look different.
I'm sure they will not. Like, the releases so far are identical to Funimation's releases, except for the logo.
Yeah,
please just get rid of the banners. Get rid of the endless banners.
Sure, yeah. If they can,
that's never going to go away.
Rebrand those. I mean, they've had different brandings over the years. So if they can get rid of classics and essentials and have some sort of branding that doesn't involve 3 banners on top of each other, that would be swell.
You know what they should do? They should just copy Criterion Collection and put the Crunchyroll logo in the top left-hand corner. And that's it.
Genius.
Yep.
There you go.
Perfect.
Mark everything up like 50%.
Yep, and have 50% off sales every year, so it comes down to somewhat affordable, and people will buy the shit out of it.
I buy the shit out of every Criterion sale.
I mean, that
me too.
Might be the way this industry is headed.
It's the only time they're like
collector's market now,
moderately
basically.
Priced.
It's like, yeah, you careful what you wish for. We're gonna go back to the days of Aniplex and ugh.
We're still in those days.
I know,
Aniplex still exists.
They say we never left those.
Yeah.
Bring back 4-episode DVD collections.
Yeah, no, not that.
2 episode
in those
VHS
slim packs. In the slim packs, all jammed into a flimsy cardboard case.
That you get from FYE, a store that still exists.
Yeah, I know, right? I was in Philly, I guess this was in New Jersey, and I walked into a mall, and there was a fucking FYE, and I was like, oh man, I remember going to FYE, I'd go into the little anime section in the back, and then I walked in, and the entire store is anime. I'm
my god.
Why did it take for me turning 30 to be the coolest 15-year-old?
Oh, they look like... I'm on their website, and I'm like, oh my god, they turned into New England Comics. They turned into Newbury Comics. New England Comics is a different person. It looks like they're selling all the exact same shit. All Funko Pops and
that's
t-shirts.
Back in the day, FYE didn't sell Funko Pops at all because Funko Pops didn't exist yet.
Right.
Yeah, I meant like they look exact. Like, okay, you guys don't live around here, so
I thought of FYE as like
looks like the exact same merchandise. So I'm guessing the stores look almost identical. So
FYE, like, at least from my memory, never really was a merchandise store. Like, that was the place that you'd go for DVDs and like CDs and records and shit. Now it's all merchandise. Like, they just built an FYE in my mall which is weird because I didn't think that they were making new stores. And you go in there and it's just all like t-shirts and like candy and just like a bunch of random K-pop memorabilia. It's like because no one buys DVDs or CDs anymore, and they're trying to stay relevant. So I get it, but it's really like a completely different store.
It's really strange though. Just looking at that, it's like, okay, so FYE turned into what was the name of that other store? Oh shit, they didn't have those around here either. The one that used to, people were like, hey, we got Pocky and stuff, and it was wherever. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember it either, because my mall used to have the old one that got turned into an FYE.
No, that's Saturday Matinee. No, I'm talking about Suncoast. Suncoast.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's it, Suncoast.
I have no idea the other one you just said.
Oh.
Saturday Matinee. No, we had a Suncoast that turned into an FYE.
Oh, that's weird. Saturday Matinee was another thing that got turned into FYEs. Because they were the same parent company. Yeah, I don't know. They look very much like Newbury Comics. That's curious. So I guess we won't be getting FYE back in my mall because that would be redundant with the Newbury Comics that are there.
But yeah, anyway, anime on home video, Funimation has dominated forever. Now with the rebranding to Crunchyroll, I don't know if anything will change significantly anytime soon. They've already had a lot of licenses and partnered with a lot of other companies, so I don't know if we'll still see like Crunchyroll partnered with other companies on releases. There are still a few that have been announced and not released yet, so that would be super weird in competition with just straight Crunchyroll releases, but I guess it'll probably happen for a little bit.
I could see them having a slight uptick in sales based off of what Kate had already said. So, like, if people know the Crunchyroll brand and you put, cases of Blu-rays with slipcovers or whatever where you can see the logo and someone's just walking by and they're like, oh, I recognize that logo. Oh, this is a show that I watched. I really liked it. There's a greater chance they'll pick it up because of the recognition than Funimation, when they're like, what the fuck's Funimation? Or they won't even look at the case because it's not something they recognize. Like, it doesn't catch their eye, but like the bright orange and all of that for the Crunchyroll logo, I could see like a minuscule uptick because of that. Like, people not even realizing they could buy this stuff because it doesn't say Crunchyroll at the store on it.
And if they merge like storefronts, digital storefronts and stuff, and it's all on Crunchyroll's website, it'll be like, you like this? You want to buy this? Here's the special edition. You want to buy it? Or do you want to buy the metal special edition of this? It comes with a plushie. Do you want it? Do you want it?
And they've already done that. The June releases were listed exclusively on the Crunchyroll shop and not the Funimation shop. So that's all going to go away. I don't imagine a scenario where someone is like looking at physical releases in a brick and mortar store and being more likely to buy it because they see a tiny little Crunchyroll logo in the corner versus a tiny little Funimation logo.
I think you completely underestimate how powerful that is.
I just don't think that the people who are that into the Crunchyroll brand have any interest in buying home video anymore. I think the people who have no idea what Funimation is and are all about Crunchyroll don't care about buying Blu-rays.
But when they're in a Barnes and Noble and it's the twice a year markdown sale, and I think the digital storefront of like, you're on your show page, you're watching an episode, and there's a big ol' ad next to it being like, buy this shit with a dub and titties and interviews, and click here to do that. That will probably help them out a little bit. But yeah, I think for the most part, the reason for this rebranding is because the streaming market is, the big cash cow, and the home video market is people like us who've been buying them for decades.
What if they got rid of the blue banners and just it's all bright orange banners now?
I totally see that happening.
That will happen.
Especially like Crunchyroll Originals. Totally going to be a big old orange Crunchyroll Original banner on top of that. No question.
And then a Rotten Tomato sticker on it, and then like an Anime DB sticker on it, and you won't be. It'll be like that that cover for the Batman Arkham City Game of the Year edition that just had quotes all over it.
That was the only thing I could think of earlier when you were like, it's gonna have all those banners, and that's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, oh god.
I think the Disney Ghibli releases were even worse about banners than Funimation's are. There were 5 banners. It was rough.
I'll have to look, because we have some of those. I know they had the big, gold one.
Yeah, a few. I mean, Disney released every Ghibli movie 10 times, so there's so many different releases of all those movies. But there was a certain line where there was 5 banners.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any of those. I do have ones that say Disney, and then they have the Ghibli banner in blue, and then there's a gold one even under that, an accent banner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's interesting is that it'll be weird to see how the next few months to a year go in terms of their partnerships with these other companies, because on one hand, I imagine they'll be just taking over Funimation's production facilities, because Crunchyroll has never had their own home video production facilities, which is why they've always partnered with other companies. So they'll be taking over that, and they did a pretty good job during their previous partnership where Funimation basically released all of their licenses, both Funimation and Crunchyroll licenses. But now that they are this entire monolith of the industry, it's hard to imagine that they'll be able to pump out all of that on home video forever. So I could see certainly a lot of titles staying streaming only. Definitely see that, and it'll be interesting to see if they still have some partnerships, because right now some of their biggest titles are not even released yet, but planning to be released under partnerships. Some Crunchyroll originals, Jujutsu Kaisen is coming out under Viz, and the only reason it hasn't yet is because it's Viz, and they take a year or 5 years to release any anime. And they're not even interested in licensing the sequels to their own anime franchises anymore. So I really hope that partnership goes away very quickly. But for right now, Viz is still the one with Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, it'll be weird to see how that works out.
So weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, Funimation's got brand new dubbing facilities in Dallas. And they've been working with a lot of other studios since they have so many new shows being dubbed. Crunchyroll's been working with a lot of different studios, so I'm sure that will continue to, be spread around. For some of their, their Sentai partnership, they'd have Sentai dub a show, for example. So, maybe less of that for the companies that are already the pair of dub studio and home video licensor, which is basically just Sentai at this point. Probably not as many Houston dubs, but everywhere else, I imagine we'll still be getting dubs of all this stuff. So yeah, anything else to say about that big overhaul of our industry?
No. Such is the way the world is going. Consolidation, consolidation, consolidation.
Yeah.
I think consolidation's a good thing.
Yeah, I kind of am perfectly fine with it, to be honest. Because then, everything is just going to be on Crunchyroll. I just got to buy one subscription.
Yeah, it's definitely good for streaming. We'll see if we get some inflated prices on that, but yeah,
I can't imagine it staying at the same price. It's going to go up.
I mean, every streaming service with a dedicated enough subscriber base that they know will keep paying for their new subscription prices raises their subscription prices once a year at least. So yeah, it's going to happen, but it's definitely nice to have everything that would have gone to Crunchyroll or Funimation or Verve, which is interesting because Verve has a lot of other channels that's not anime. So if that's getting consolidated here as well, then it'll be interesting to see if Crunchyroll ends up having a lot more non-anime animation and other nerd shit on there. But yeah, that's all great. I've always wanted, all anime at least on Crunchyroll with their subtitles and their streaming platform and everything. So that's great. It's everything else that's as long as Netflix and all the other huge companies provide enough competition, then at least that should keep them going. And the fact that they started as a pirate site, it's a weird situation to get excited about. But I've been weirdly all for Crunchyroll for a very long time. I don't know why in particular. I guess maybe just being there, seeing them like rise up as the underdogs was somehow appealing to me. But I think even though it's unfortunate that they started stealing anime and even stealing content from people who were stealing anime and making money off of it because they didn't even create the content, people would upload other people's fan subs onto Crunchyroll, and then Crunchyroll would take people's money, which is a bummer that's how it started. But I think that has always kind of helped them be the best streaming service because they've always been aware that even if they don't have sufficient competition in their own industry, their original competition was piracy, and they have always excelled at, being what fans want from, the old fan sub experience, the simulcast experience now, because they started out that way, and they know that if they don't give fans the product that they're looking for, then they'll seek it elsewhere, and elsewhere is not legal or paid for, but that's how it's going to happen. So as long as they keep that in mind, I guess, yeah, hopefully things will be okay. I think the fact that they've competed so much with Funimation over the years has been the reason that they've poured so much money into so many Crunchyroll originals and, new productions like that, which is worrying to see go away. I will say, this was noted in like an ANN article about this, but it has been well documented in recent years that Funimation paid subtitlers a lot more than Crunchyroll, which is especially wild because of how much better Crunchyroll's subtitle formatting is. I don't know that that's necessarily the same people, probably not.
No, that's that's totally other.
But the translators were always paid much less than at Crunchyroll than anywhere else virtually, but certainly Funimation. And now the Funimation translators don't exist anymore. They have to work for Crunchyroll. So hopefully Crunchyroll pays those extremely important people in their business a livable wage.
Well, that's all really Sony's ball at this point. As somebody pointed out to us, it's like, I don't know, my checks still say Sony on them, so...
Yeah. But, translators are, especially like the weekly simulcast subtitlers, they don't necessarily work for Crunchyroll LLC. They're mostly freelancers.
Sure, contractors or freelancers, right, or anything like that.
So, and I think there were reports of people who were getting paid more at Funimation, and then they got fired because Funimation is no longer subtitling their own content and had to get a job at Crunchyroll for less money. So that needs to change.
Yes. And I guess there's probably no kind of union that those people could fall under. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, they're not even employees necessarily. So.
No, but
yeah.
There's always some dumb kids just out of college with a Japanese degree that are like, I can do it.
Right. It's kind of the same problem as animators in Japan. It's because this is a passion project of people. It's what they love that they will take the abuse and get underpaid to be a part of the industry. And there are always more fans, always more anime fans, regardless of whether they're animators or translators, that will be willing to take the place of someone who's burnt out and too poor from not getting paid what they're worth. So unfortunately, that's what perpetuates this scenario.
All right.
Yeah, so that's that. All right, next piece of news. So I mentioned Mushoku Tensei just got an OVA released on Funimation as of right now, until that is no longer a thing in a few weeks. But it has officially been confirmed for a second season. When, yeah, the first two seasons were really season one. It was just a extended split core situation. So actual season 2 TV anime in production.
I'm not following that series, so I got nothing to say.
Same as well, other than what caused the extended split core, just like COVID-based stuff? Or
I think it had to do with COVID, yeah. I think it was planned to be only one season between the two, and there was only two in between them, but, it was... Some people refer to the second core as season 2, but really it was season 1, part 2. It's all bullshit. Like, the season branding doesn't mean anything ever.
No, I agree. as has been noted before, when I didn't understand how it worked or why it worked that way.
Yeah. Like we're on Attack on Titan, the final season, part 2, which is still not going to be the end of the series. Stupid.
As in, there'll be the final season part 3, or they're going to go with the final season 2 part 1?
Well, it'd be the final season part 2, because this is the final season part 2, part 1 currently.
Jesus Christ.
No, yeah, it'll either be part 3 or a movie, probably. But yeah, speaking of new seasons being announced, Classroom of the Elite is a really great light novel series that got a one-core anime adaptation half a decade ago, and it has finally been confirmed for not only a season 2, but a season 3. I think season 2 is coming in summer, and season 3 is next year or something. But yeah, that's happening.
Damn, it's been that long since that first released?
Yeah, 5 years.
Good lord, I remember watching the first 2 or 3 episodes when it came out, and it doesn't seem like that long ago, because that's the show about basically like a microcosm of socioeconomic policy, essentially, because it was like every kid had money and you could spend it on what you wanted, but how much money you had dictated like your ranking in class or something like that.
Yeah, it was the whole meritocracy system, and they had a bunch of weird tasks that kids had to do to, boost their class's rank and stuff.
I didn't realize it was that popular. I guess maybe because it was so long ago and it was just one. To get not only a season 2 but also a season 3, 5 years after the fact. I know sometimes the anime production cycle can be very weird in that respect, but I don't know of many shows off the top of my head that get not one but 2 seasons announced at the same time.
Yeah, it's happened a few times, but definitely weird for it to be after 5 years of radio silence when it only ever got one core to begin with.
I wonder if it was always on the slate, but just the back burner or something. It doesn't feel like the type of show that, I don't know, you would do that one season and then dig it back up, because you're people would probably like this. Let's just put effort into that. As a spur of the moment, let's make more of this. I mean, I could be wrong there, but I guess I would assume more that the ideas were always in the incubator, but they just never came to fruition until recently, which may also be why it's a season 2 and a 3, because maybe they're why don't we just do them both while we're at it? Because that's just a weird situation.
Yeah, I don't know if the light novels just started selling well recently, or not selling well, and they wanted to boost it. But yeah, the announcement of 2 seasons at once, I would think more likely that they started becoming more popular for whatever reason.
That reminds me of all those Hollywood stories you hear about of movies that the script was just in a box somewhere that a studio bought, and then the original book starts selling for no reason, so they pull that dusty script out of the box, and all of a sudden let's just make this movie because the book is popular.
Yep, probably something like that. All right. Next piece of news. G-Kids has announced, 4 licenses at once. They are Makoto Shinkai's first 4 films, Voices of a Distant Star, Place Promised in Our Early Days, 5 centimeters per second, and Children Who Chase Lost Voices. G-Kids will be releasing all 4 of these films on Blu-ray. And so Voices of a Distant Star was only available on Blu-ray through like the 5 centimeters per second international edition, which was a Japanese release, but you could buy it internationally. I think it was on Right Stuff at some point. Place Promised in Our Early Days was only released on DVD by ADV back in the day. 5 centimeters per second has, that's interestingly actually the first Crunchyroll home video license ever, and the first one, or the only one ever released by Bandai Entertainment, because by the time Crunchyroll got the license to anything else, Bandai no longer existed. So through Crunchyroll, Bandai has released it on DVD, Discotek has released it on DVD, and then Blu-ray, and then maybe another Blu-ray. And yeah, that was also licensed by ADV for DVD back in the day. And Children Who Chase Lost Voices it was, I guess, licensed by Sentai and released on Blu-ray, but I'm guessing that must be out of print by now if they no longer have the license. So yeah, super cool to have this all coming back, and some of it for the first time.
Yeah, I think that last one, the Children Who Chase Lost Voices, is the only one of those early ones that I have. It came in that, like, nice, thicker Blu-ray case that made you feel like you had something a little more, I don't know, had a little more body on it. Yeah, I was actually going to ask before you kind of covered that question already, if these were readily available before, like if they had been out of print for a while, or I guess in some ways for Blu-ray, never in print ever.
Right.
So that's definitely exciting. Sure, yeah. Especially for people who like collecting just like directors' filmographies and things like that. That it gives you the ability to have them in nicer editions and things. Because yeah, obviously the newer ones are much easier to come by. But yeah, some of those old ones obviously were much harder. So, I wonder, are they just going to be like regular slim kind of Blu-ray cases? No like pomp and circumstance?
I don't expect anything deluxe about them, but I could see some of them being packaged together, because like Voices of a Distant Star is very short. That's why it was included on the 5 centimeters per second Blu-ray in Japan, which is also a relatively short film. So it could be packaged with that, could be packaged with Place Promised in Our Early Days, since that was, his first full-length film. Maybe all 4 of them in one set. It'd be awesome if they had something slightly premium for that, as well as standard options, but nothing announced about that so far.
How short is short for Voices of a Distant Star? Because the one about shoes is only like 40 minutes.
That's true, yeah.
And that got its very own Blu-ray release.
Yeah, and that was crazy because that was like a week after it premiered in theaters in Japan. We had a dubbed Sentai Blu-ray in America. That was a very unique situation, yeah.
25 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so significantly shorter.
Right. And, that was, like I said, brand new. These are all very old works, so I could see there being more of a reason to package them together. Like, not that many people are going to shell out for Voices of a Distant Star on its own on a Blu-ray.
Are most of these well regarded, or just early pieces that are more like, I guess, historical because of how big Shinkai has gotten now?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Well, I mean, like, just in general. I mean, there's always a general consensus. Yeah. Like, that Children Who Chase Lost Voices is just a Miyazaki ripoff.
Right. That's what that film is. The rest of them are very pure, repetitive Shinkai. I think, Voices of a Distant Star, it's rough, but it is maybe the most impressive production in the history of anime, because it was created entirely by Shinkai on like his Mac
He made it in a garage.
Yeah, like in his free time while he worked a full-time job at a game company. He did absolutely everything except the music. The voices are even him and his girlfriend or fiance at the time. he made it 100% by himself, purely amateur project, while working an unrelated full-time job. So it looks rough, but it is like the most impressive thing.
It's easily one of like probably my biggest inspirations just as a product, because it's like I'm essentially doing that too. It's like I'm one dude just doing everything on my own in my room, and it's like I probably wouldn't do that if it wasn't for him showing that, like, yeah, you can do that. Like, I can make this amazing product by myself and just it'll work. And look at him now. It's crazy.
You're gonna have the Your Name of Aerogay.
So yeah, he constructed that whole thing using his Power Mac G4 with Lightwave, Photoshop 5, not CS5, 5, After Effects 4.1, and Commotion 3.1.
And that was like 2000?
Yeah, this is like software I was using in like college. You know, it's like, like the rendering, it must have taken like a week to render this shit out. You know, it's like, ugh.
So yeah, that's an extremely important historical piece and just achievement by a single artist. And yeah, I think Place Promised in our early days is not like super highly regarded, but I think it's a very important prototype for the Shinkai formula. Like I said, it's his first full film. It's his first time like actually working with a staff. You see a lot of what informs the rest of his filmography. 5 centimeters per second, I think, is much more well regarded. I think that's when people started calling him the next Miyazaki, was that movie. And it's still my favorite after Your Name. And then, yeah, Children Who Chase Lost Voices was, he took the Miyazaki comparison too far. But, I mean, everything's someone's favorite, because Darius always talks about how that is by far his favorite Shinkai work. Maybe not above Your Name at this point, but that it like makes him cry, and I've heard that from a few people, so everyone is someone's favorite.
I'll have to check out Voices of a Distant Star then, because, I mean, I really don't particularly enjoy any of his movies at this point, but just for the, like you said, the historical value alone, I have more than a few movies in my collection that I don't particularly enjoy them for their content, but I own them more for like the historical aspect of like their creation or people who were involved in them and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely have to check that out then, because I mean, yeah, you never know. It could be one that I actually enjoy, despite the fact that it is rougher. Who knows? But it would be cool, yeah, just to have it from that perspective.
Yeah, and I'm just excited that people will be able to buy his entire filmography on Blu-ray in the US, finally.
Can we get it all in a box set that there's only 40 copies, and then for the next 10 years it's nothing but bootlegs on eBay?
Oh, God.
Well, you can't
just
get
like that
them all in a box
Miyazaki
set.
collection.
Oh, is that what happened to that? I'm glad I have it then.
I still see people buying that and putting it on like subreddits for like Blu-rays. They're like, I can't believe I found this, and you could tell from the picture. I'm like, no, that's fake. Any of them that you buy that are brand new anymore are completely fake.
Nice.
But people still buy them thinking that like it's the legit thing. But I mean, you just got to look at any of those discs, and they're good. Like, it's a really well created bootleg set. Like, I'll give it that. Like, it is good, but just like the discs, there's those telltale signs of like the art is slightly off center.
Right.
And things like that.
Isn't that what happened to you with Evangelion when it was out of print forever?
Oh, no, I knew that was a bootleg. I bought it on purpose.
Okay.
No, yeah, I knew that shit was fake based off like the Comic Sans font.
Oh, nice. Very
but I was just like, I can't watch this any other way, so I'll buy the $14.99 bootleg off eBay because it wasn't streaming anywhere, and if you wanted the DVDs, they weren't in print, so you had to buy the Platinum Collection for $400.
Yep.
So I was like, yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah, with the Miyazaki collection, I'm glad I got that when it was new. It is funny that they were like the complete works of Miyazaki, and he's like, yo, I want to make another one. But with these movies, it would be interesting to see if G-Kids tried to like do a license like Disney did with Discotheque for that release, where they get some of the movies that they still don't have to package them all together. But since Shinkai still has so much of a career ahead of him, that there might not be as much incentive for that at this point. We'll see.
They could. I could see them doing that. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, like you said with the Miyazaki thing, and Tarantino for like Hollywood has had multiple sets where it's like the definitive Tarantino collection. It's like, oh, except for this, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Inglourious Bastards and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially since Tarantino always says that he's only going to make 10 movies. Like, just wait for the 10th, package them all together.
Exactly, but nope, they'll still make those box sets and, they'll sell like hotcakes. So I could see them doing it, despite the fact that he'll obviously, Shinkai will obviously make more films. Even if all of them turn out to be flops, he'll still make them because they'll make cash.
American distributors do that all the time because, like, with any, it's the same kind of thought process as with TV series where, like, Game of Thrones season 8 is confirmed to be the last one and is coming out in a month. But here's a set of seasons 1 through 7 to go next to your sets of season 1 through 6 and seasons 1 through 5. Like, they do that shit all the time. And yeah, I think I could see G-Kids doing a box set of the early days of Shinkai or whatever, these 4 movies together. Maybe a collection of these ones and like Weathering with You. It'd be kind of arbitrary, but it would be a little weird at this point if they sub-licensed all these other how many are there? 2 other ones from other companies just for a box set of the complete collection of someone who's going to make more stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Anything could happen. It is still weird to me that 7 years ago, Disney licensed a movie from Discotheque.
Which one was that?
Castle of Cagliostro, so they could include it in their Miyazaki collection.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It did have, it had that Disney one for a while. I think we had the DVD version of that, and then I bought the it's not Shout Factory, is it? No.
Who?
That has the Cagliostro license, like
Discotheque.
Okay, yeah, that's right. We had the Disney DVD, and then I bought the Discotheque Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, by the time Disney released that Miyazaki collection, right before they lost the rights to all those and G-Kids got them, Discotheque had already released Cagliostro on DVD and Blu-ray, so they had to license the Blu-ray rights from them and were collected in there and take away all of the awesome extras. All right, next piece of news. So Toei Animation was hacked. They announced this. We don't know all of the details behind it, but whatever happened, it was severe enough that every Toei Animation TV series has been indefinitely delayed. Some of them have been confirmed to not have any new episodes coming out for the next month or so. Some of them are week by week basis, and they just keep updating. Nope, we're not getting one this week either. And then they just announced that the Dragon Ball Super movie, which was slated to hit Japanese theaters next month and obviously be a big blockbuster, has also been indefinitely delayed because of the hack.
Okay, so by hack, this has to be ransomware computer system, right? Nothing else would cause everything to just suddenly disappear off the face of the earth.
That's what I would think, especially with something like the Dragon Ball movie, which a month out, it's clearly finished.
Mm-hmm.
This so is like it isn't like someone got a hold of some. Yeah. This is got to be ransomware.
Yeah, just servers were compromised. We don't have full control over our facilities anymore. Something like that.
Yeah, so, yeah. I'd be curious to see how much money this is costing them, day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, because that's how you get your bread and butter is releasing those episodes. So it's just you just see that red ticker building up and up and up and up and up
mm-hmm.
as they get through this.
I wonder why they would say it's we got hacked. when every American company that gets attacked by ransomware is like, we got ransomwared. And everybody's like, oh shit, that fucking sucks. Unless they just don't want to admit that their systems were compromised in that way.
I mean, there is always a chance that that's not what happened.
Right. Yeah, but what else could
that's
this possibly
what common
be?
sense would tell you, but yeah, there's
I know,
always that
it is Japan, but it's like, I know, Japan is weird about things sometimes, but like, every other time that there's been like a weird leak or something bizarre happened, it's like, it's delayed like maybe 1 or 2 things a week, not their whole production slate.
Right. Yeah, and it is a little weird that certain titles were like confirmed to be delayed for weeks, and then others were only 1 week at a time. So yeah, I don't know if it's just the production schedules of those different shows or something, but it sucks.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah. I think, if there's any silver lining, like, when we had no anime coming out because of COVID, and all the Toei animation shows that had aired every week for the past 20 years had no episodes for 3 months. The animators got much time to polish up their work and come out with some real cool stuff. So if it's still in a place that animators can do their job and just work more on the episodes instead of having to crunch them out every week, then that's a slight silver lining to it all.
Maybe they can give the Dragon Ball movie the Sonic the Hedgehog movie treatment.
Oh my god, that teaser trailer. The teaser trailer that they released before the trailer. Did you see what they did when they slowed that down and picked it apart?
No, I didn't.
It was chef's kiss. It was like, they were like, here, there's a trailer come out in 2 days, but here's the super fast version. And if you slowed it down, it was filled with like memes and random shit like that, and mixed in with like real footage. But I was like, well played indeed.
Yeah,
they're very self-aware.
Yeah. All right. So next few pieces of news. So speaking of Discotek had one of their big old online panels streaming on Twitch a few days ago. And as always, they announced a bunch of stuff, which are all of interest to lots of people and very little of it of particular interest to me, but still worth acknowledging. Because, some of it might be of interest to people on this podcast. So let's see. I'll just run it down through all of it, and then we can discuss anything we're interested in. So for new licenses, they licensed the 1980 Astro Boy anime. They licensed Symphogear GX. They licensed Rescued Fusei from NIS America. They licensed Lupin the Third: Prison of the Past for Blu-ray. They licensed the new Detective Conan movie, Fist of Blue Sapphire, for Blu-ray. They licensed Galactic Whirlwind Sasuriger, which is the third part of the J9 trilogy, which they had released the first 2 parts of. They licensed Powered Armor Dorvac. They licensed Holmes of Kyoto, which is a recent series. It's only like 4 years old, which is always hilarious in a Discotek panel because all of these Discotek fans will be like losing their fucking minds over the first frame of the opening of some ultra obscure, shitty 1980s mecha series that nobody else has heard of. And then they played like the entire opening of this show from 4 years ago, and everyone's like, the hell is this? So yeah, that's the Discotek panel paradigm. They licensed Digimon Adventure, which is their biggest announcement. Yeah, that's a good point. Not the remake that just came out. The original Digimon series. So they are first releasing the Fox Kids dub, and then they will be releasing the original Japanese, original Japanese subtitled version later on. And they used AstroRes on this more heavily than they've ever used it on anything before. And it is insane how good it looks. It looks like it looks in my nostalgic memories from 22 years ago. Crazy, that technology. They announced the finally the home video release of Moncali Nights with the English dub, and the next season of Sergeant Frog, which goes past what Funimation had dubbed and released. And then they announced a bunch of new like restoration releases. So mostly stuff they had already released, but some new, more polished versions of those. So they've got Cyber City Oedo 808, Violence Jack, Project Echo 2. They've confirmed the release details for that Blu-ray. Darkstalkers, or Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge. Kekaishi, which they had gotten for streaming on Crunchyroll, but they will be releasing on a pretty decently upscaled Blu-ray release with the full series after Viz had just released it on 4 DVDs back in the day after it aired on Adult Swim. The original Devilman series is getting a new restoration Blu-ray, and the live-action Uzumaki movie based on the Junji Ito manga will be getting the first release in their new live-action imprint called Nihon Nights. Yeah, that's Discotek.
I mean, there's a lot of good shit in there.
Jeez, those comparisons with oh my god, that software, that stuff is nuts.
It is insane.
They showed here's the Japanese Blu-ray and here's what ours looks like, and it was like, what sorcery is this?
Literal magic.
It's fucking magic. It's amazing. God, that shit looks so good.
I know.
Oh god. It's like it's such a.
You gotta buy it now.
Okay, first of all, Digimon Adventure is not my favorite Digimon series, and now I don't know how to feel about Tamers anymore. Now that Jackie Jikonaka has been shown to be a right-wing lunatic, so. Anyway, yeah, man. After years of shitty, up-resing by companies like Disney and shit. Onto their Blu-rays, and then they're here comes Discotek, and they're like, hey, check this shit out. It's yeah. Oh, it's so good.
I love that they're the only people who have worked with AstroRes. This incredible technology, for some reason, Justin Savakis is the only guy who's gotten a hold of them.
And it's so secretive and shit, and they're like, yeah, this guy showed up, he's like, hey, I got this thing.
Yeah,
and exactly. It's what is going on? Why is this? Oh.
And yeah, AstroRes, they didn't even have a website or Twitter account until literally this Discotek panel. After months, years maybe, of Discotek talking about the technology.
Yeah.
Now they finally have any sort of presence of their own. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Now they have a fucking website. Yeah. They're yeah, here we are. This is what we do. And their website's so basic. It's just floating constellations.
Oh, the AstroRes site?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. I was it's floating constellations in text blocks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at Discotek's website.
I know. I love Discotek's website. It's so
That's probably how they originally that's how they knew they'd work well together. Both our websites look like shit.
I mean, they're both very, grassroots, just fanboys working their asses off to make incredible content out of, literal silk purses out of sow's ears or whatever. Yeah, it's amazing.
Copyright by AstroRes, powered by AstroRes.
But yeah, as far as the Digimon thing, I would love if they can continue down this path and get the original Japanese versions of Hosoda's not Discotek, Digimon movies before they were cut together into the Digimon the movie for the US.
Oh yeah.
That'd be awesome because you get the full original prototype for Summer Wars in there. Any thoughts on any of these other Discotek announcements?
I mean, there's a lot of really interesting shit in there, not from the remasters in particular, especially Violence Jack and Cyber City Oedo, those were top tier those mid-90s, like, really kind of dark, violent type deals of, like, that big dystopian type of vibe that they had going on. So that's cool that they're getting remasters, and of course more Lupin's always good. They're also releasing the third Part 1 series, aren't they? Like the third, Lupin the Third, Part 1. And then I thought I read somewhere that they had like licensed, or someone had licensed Lupin the Third Part 3, which is the one that most people know about. Like that was most people's. If it wasn't Castle of Cagliostro, it was Part 3 because that was on Adult Swim.
Part 2.
Oh yeah, Part 2. Part 3 is when it got really weird, like in Italian. That's right. Yeah.
Part 3 was the weird pink jacket where it was like half like really absurd gags, and that was not released anywhere for like 40 years until Discotek did release all of that very recently. So yeah, they're releasing Part 1 on Blu-ray finally with the new dub that TMS just commissioned very recently. So they'll have matching releases of all of the TV series except Part 2, which so far only has their DVD releases. They have released all of it on DVD, including the parts that were never dubbed, all of the Miyazaki stuff, everything from Part 2 is released, but it's the only one still DVD only. So since they've finally released Part 1 on Blu-ray after all this time, hopefully Part 2 will follow not too long after. And then you'll have them all, except Part 6, which Sentai has for some reason.
Just to annoy everyone else.
Basically.
Yep.
Yeah, and the Darkstalkers one is interesting mainly because it's an adaptation of a fighting game.
Mm-hmm. Which they've released several of at this point.
Yeah, that they have.
And, something I want to talk about with Darkstalkers, which I think they did, I think they mentioned they did this with their Street Fighter 2 movie as well, which is just like the most amazing thing. And of course, Discotek would be the ones to do this. They have separate subtitle tracks where you can toggle between like the original character names and the ones that were renamed for like the American release of the game. Love it. Love it.
That Street Fighter 2 movie is legitimately good.
I've not seen it.
Like I'll go to my grave saying that shit. That movie is good even if you don't like Street Fighter, because a lot of them are, they're a lot of the fighting game adaptations are mainly for people who like the games because it's the lore of the game. But that Street Fighter 2 one's great, especially because it only deals with the characters everybody knows, like Ryu and Ken and Guile and the people you've seen all over, either through the games themselves or shit like Wreck-It Ralph and stuff. So people are aware of them. And I think it was like an original story, somewhat. But that movie's great. But that's a really fun feature. I didn't know that they could do that. So, but yeah, of course, Discotek would do that with all their crazy old stuff that they license. That's obviously been through licensing and censorship hell and back for some stuff.
Yep. Yeah, so that's Discotek stuff. Alright, and then we got some news. So, we've been talking about some Gundam news recently. By the way, I meant to mention that losing the Funimation brand in the US is like losing the Sunrise brand in the Japanese animation industry.
Yeah, it really is.
Which are both happening at the same time, which is crazy. But yeah, so we've been talking about a new Gundam anime. There's going to be the brand new TV series, new universe, first one since Iron-Blooded Orphans. But we're also getting a new Gundam 00 CG anime from the original staff, telling stories that were like originally written for the 00 series, but never actually made it into it. So that is interesting. It's called Revealed Chronicle.
I don't know how to feel about CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of in general when it comes to anime stuff. Because it does have a history of being very hit or miss. But, I don't know. I I was never like a humongous fan of Double O, but I guess more from that story is good because I know a lot of people really enjoyed it, especially of the separate universe, because I know it's received much better than like Seed and Seed Destiny and Age and a lot of those other entries. That Double O kind of got the most love from the fans. I mean, I still see panels at conventions about Double O in particular. So I think that's pretty cool.
I've been a big Double O fan. That was like my first like alternate universe Gundam that I really got into when that first came out. And yeah, I'm excited by the idea, but yeah, not excited about the CG. And the movie that concluded the Double O series was garbage. So not super confident about this one being good, since it's just like some forgotten stories that have been on the back burner for 10, 15 years. But we'll see.
That movie was what? Awakening of the Trailblazer?
Yes. Not Awakening.
A Space Awakening.
Yes, correct.
Stupid.
Yeah, that I like to ignore that film.
Just like how I ignore the Gundam Zeta film collection.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's easy because it's compilation movies. It's not like the conclusion of the story.
That's true. It's much easier to ignore those, especially because they're shit.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned being a little hesitant about the CG. I believe your favorite Gundam property was MS Igloo, so I'm a little surprised about that.
MS Igloo is great to watch because it looks so garbage. And there's one good part to MS Igloo. There's one single good part to MS Igloo, and that's when a tank fires and it uses the blowback on the tank to slap a Zaku down on the ground. Like the Zaku has tripped or something, I can't remember. It's laying on the ground and the tank rolls over, it puts the barrel on top, and then when the Zaku tries to get back up, it slaps it down with the kickback from firing like the main gun, which is so dumb but cool at the same time. And that's the only good thing about MS Igloo. They should try to drop that price to what that fucking High School of the Dead OVA is. Just give that bullshit away.
Yeah, you gotta collect all the Gundam, though.
Yeah, people will still buy it.
Yep. It's a quality brand recognition strategy.
Just
not
like
on anything.
Discotech should next pick up and do like a remastering of, what was it, G-Savior?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're using MS Igloo as the precedent for Gundam 00 Revealed Chronicle, then G-Savior should be the precedent for the Netflix live-action film. Yeah, that's wild that movie exists and is technically the last canonical entry in the Universal Century.
Ugh.
Like, chronologically, yeah. It's wild. Just like how it's wild that we're getting a feature film adaptation of the episode of the original Gundam series that Tomino won't let you see.
Oh yeah, Kukuru's Done's Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny when that came out because people were like, oh, I wonder why we didn't get it. And then like one Google result would tell you because Tomino thought it looked like shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't because it had like any like culturally insensitive stuff or because there was, you know, anything truly controversial. It was just, this thing looks like crap.
Just that one episode. Now it's getting a whole movie.
Yep, it's getting a whole goddamn film.
Yeah, interesting.
I think is it the original? I think it's in the first like double digit episodes. Like it's like the first episode like 17 or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's in the teens for sure. 15 or something, yeah. Yeah, anyway, that's lots of new Gundam by Bandai Namco Filmworks, whatever the fuck they call Sunrise now. But that is all the news I have.
We did it. We did it, fam.
Indeed.
Now
I'm watching these Digimon comparisons and it's ridiculous.
It is so insane.
Oh, it's so good. So what do you think? What do you think they do? Do you think they have like like some kind of AI script that they have to go through and tweak, and like a whole like just a wall of like servers and shit?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have just a ton of like probably pre-remastered and remastered footage that they feed into their machine learning algorithm, and it just processes them and probably has a lot of different paths that it can go down and different configurations, because like Justin was talking about getting like 5 different versions of this back from AstroRes, and the first one looked amazing and every subsequent one just looked better and better. So yeah, it has to be something like that. They just feed it tons of historical remastered data, and it figures out how to remaster certain pixel patterns. Or upscaled.
Good.
Yeah.
So good.
I think that's how a lot of that stuff works, because Criterion has a good video. It's old, but it went into a little more detail on their remastering process and the machines they use that basically scan the film into a machine, and then they'd run what was essentially like an AI cleaner over it, and then manually get the rest of the stuff that it didn't pick up, but only after they did like they ran a scan and saw what it looked like, and then maybe undid it, and then ran a different scan with different parameters to see what it did.
Right.
So that they never like over DNR'd it or anything like that. And then they would go in and manually take out like the super, super fine grain that of like mistakes on the film, because you don't want to get into a Goku's eyebrows situation.
Right.
So I think, this AstroRes stuff is great, but I think it's kind of worked like that for a while, just not as sophisticated. Just, feeding it with different parameters on how you want it to clean and, read the pixels that the software generated from scanning the film, and then going from there.
Yeah, I have to imagine part of the reason that AstroRes has been so successful with Discotech is that it's got to be easier for animation, 2D hand-drawn animation, than like live action, because the lines are much more distinct. So you can make it work a lot more proficiently.
Well, I think there's also, for the most part, I've always considered animation has slightly less subjectivity to it, because everybody has a different opinion on what they think about film grain.
Yeah.
And, films will have film grain, and some people don't like it at all, and you'll get, like the original Blu-ray release of Pan's Labyrinth, which everyone looked like they were made out of plastic. And then you'll have like the Criterion version, which still keeps a lot of the film grain, and some people like that and some people don't, and I don't really know if anime has that problem.
I mean, a little bit, like with, people on Blu-ray.com will complain about all the Blu-rays coming out of Japan that get rid of a lot of the film grain, especially like the 4K releases. And for a lot of Discotech releases, where they've only gotten like, and I shouldn't say a lot, a few of the Discotech releases where they've gotten like the Japanese HD masters that clean up all the film grain, they've kind of gone back to the previous releases that people are more into because of that original grain, and added artificial grain to make it match that while still having the resolution of the Blu-ray remaster. So they've done that. I think they might have some of that that's worked with AstroRes. Actually, I think like Memories, so the first part of Memories, Magnetic Rose, which is the part that everyone loves, has some, digital CG elements in it that would not upscale properly. Like the upscaling looked a lot shittier than the proper rescan of the film elements.
The Lord of the Rings 4Ks had that same problem, and they basically had to redo them.
Yeah. So for the Discotech release for Memories, they used AstroRes on it and then added film grain to match because they were like embedded in a film background. So they added grain to make it blend with the film that was surrounding it. And those elements.
Does digital animation still have that problem?
What problem?
Sorry, what? I cut out there.
What problem?
As in, like, preserving film grain and stuff. Because I can imagine film grain being on animation when it was hand-drawn, like cells and things like that. But when it's all made on a computer, I would think film grain would be something you digitally added anyway.
Yeah, no, it doesn't exist anymore for digital anime.
Yeah, because just like how a lot of movies, like that's why I don't like the look of a lot of Netflix movies, is that they're all shot on the same 4K digital cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them look really, really clean, but they're missing film grain unless, like, the directors get special permission from Netflix to shoot with actual film cameras, or they go back and digitally add it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, that is much more an expected aesthetic of live action, whereas with animation it was just a product of photographing the cells, but it is still part of the original detail, so a lot of people who are into that were upset by some of the DNRs and remasters.
Yeah, it's always cool following like the Discotheque Twitter and stuff when they talk about it, because they do go like more than other like production physical media, like for anime and stuff like that, like their processes.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, here's a DVD or here's a Blu-ray, take it. Like the Discotheque Twitter is like, here's what we did and here's what it used to look like and here's what it looks like now.
Because no other company would do that.
Yep, pretty much.
They get the shit from Japan and slap it on a disc. Or they DBZ orange brick it, which is worse.
Yeah, oh my god. We got it from Japan and we made it worse and now you're gonna buy it.
Ugh, disgusting. Alright, anything else about any news stuff?
I got nothing.
Yeah, no, I think we covered a good bit, for sure. I'm gonna keep my eye on this whole Toei thing over the next couple days and see what happens, if anything.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to follow. All right, I've got some recommendations. Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is in theaters across the US now, so go check that out. I saw it in a surprisingly packed little Vermont theater last night, which was heartwarming to see. I had also, already seen it and reviewed it like a month ago, but it was awesome to see on a big screen. Definitely a good spectacle for that platform. If you're a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, watch it. If you're not a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, you've never seen any of it, watch it. The film is perfectly accessible if you have not seen anything or know anything about the property. And that means that if you have friends that you want to get into it, it's a great way to introduce them to it. While you're at the theater and you find yourself with 3 hours to spare, go watch The Batman, because it is very good and has 0 prerequisites, which is
3 hours long.
You can often say it is.
Yeah, it is 3 hours long, baby.
Damn. Oof.
I agree, though. It's good.
Is Pattinson a good Batman? Well, I'm assuming he's a good Batman if you guys are saying the movie's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's their Bruce Wayne is Kurt Cobain. So if you are cool with that, then he's an alright Bruce Wayne, but he's very different from like Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne, for example.
Interesting.
Well, it's like Batman Year One-ish.
Yeah, that was one of the inspirations.
Yeah, where it's like he's young and not ready to be like the playboy yet. He's trying to just do his definition of justice and doesn't really care. He hasn't accepted that whole other part of being a Wayne yet.
And it's, the film makes it very clear that he does not know how to be Bruce Wayne anymore. He is just so consumed by being Batman, which is, why it makes sense that he is very far from the Christian Bale kind of Bruce Wayne, who is very good at delineating between the two. So, yeah, it's interesting. Definitely worth watching. Very good. And in terms of home video, Millennium Actress is out on Steelbook this week, or next week, I guess, technically. So check that out if you don't have it, or if you do, and continually rebuy the same movies for better releases like I do.
I haven't seen that yet, so maybe I'll pick up this recommendation.
Nice.
Yeah, the Steelbook looks really nice. I think he uses the same art from like the European release that it had.
Yeah, that might be true.
Because there was a European release there for a while that was really nice. That I think used the exact same art. It was just it was region B locked.
And if you order that steelbook from Shout Factory, you get that same artwork blown up on a big poster.
That you can keep coiled up in the cardboard until the day the Earth dies.
I have it coiled up, being spooned by my previous Shout Factory exclusive Millennium Actress poster, my Shout Factory exclusive Perfect Blue poster, my Shout Factory exclusive Tokyo Godfathers poster, all coiled up in that same poster tube forever.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend a manga this week, which is a thing I barely ever do, and that's because I barely ever read manga anymore. But I picked up a, at least new to America, Yuri series called Chasing After Aoi Koshiba. It came out in like 2018, but they just started localizing it a few months ago. There are 3 volumes out, and I like it a lot. It's about a girl basically recounting the girl that she first fell in love with, and it's like it takes place in the future, but she's kind of like looking back on her past, and it's like showing how things unravel and like how they got to where they are today. And I like it a lot. It's really interesting, and it is a another great addition to the non-sexualized Yuri genre, which is the best kind of Yuri. So that is what I am gonna recommend this time. Also, Elden Ring is okay. And I'll recommend that too.
Hot take.
Elden Ring. Okay. Elden Ring is my recommendation.
Sorry, Kate.
No, or Horizon's Forbidden West. Or Tunic, that came out too. All are good. Go play a video game. There's so many video games. Oh my god. That's all my life is right now is video games.
I am going to recommend, it comes out in a few weeks, but Megalobox 2 Nomad, the complete collection, is being released, and Megalobox 2 is also very good, so both of them have been great. A much more different feel in Megalobox 2 versus the first one, so be prepared for that if you haven't seen it, but that's great, so pick that up on Blu-ray, and then I don't know if this was already available and it's just like a repress, but Discotek is also having a release of Lupin the Third Mystery of Mamo, I think next week. Yep. Which I think is one of the better Lupin the Third movies, because there are a shit ton of Lupin the Third movies.
And it is the first one.
Yeah, and so I think it's definitely one of the better ones out there, and I don't know what that says about the rest of the movies, that it's one of the better ones and it was the first one. But that one's a lot of fun. I want to say that it's been a really long time. In Mystery of Mama, was he driving the Fiat, or did he still have the Hitler mobile?
I don't think the Fiat made its film debut.
I thought Cagliostro was the Fiat.
Yeah, so it was.
Yeah, I think he still has the Mercedes in Mystery Mama, but I could be wrong. It's been such a long time. But that is an interesting piece of trivia, is that a lot of people think the Fiat was always there and it was not.
Right. Yeah, and I think we had discussed when Yasuo Otsuka died that it was based on his Fiat, and Miyazaki was his protege, and so he just added it to Lupin. So there was never any intention of that existing in Lupin before Miyazaki decided to throw it in there.
And then it became an iconic little car.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of that Mamo Blu-ray, so this is, Discotek has released Mamo on DVD. This is the first time it's coming out on Blu-ray. And since Mamo was the oldest Lupin movie and has been through so many hands, and because Discotek is Discotek, they have confirmed that it will have 9 audio tracks.
Oh my god!
This movie has 4 different dubs. It has new restorations of 2 of the dubs, as well as the original versions. It has 3 separate Japanese audio tracks. One of them 3 separate audio tracks of the full film, and then one of them that's just the score. And each dub has a unique sign track of the subtitles so that the on-screen text matches the dub.
Yeah, they go hard over there.
Yep. Yeah, here, let's see. We've got English audio with matching sign and song subtitles. You've got the 2003 Pioneer version in 5.1 surround, as well as that one in stereo. They've got the 1996 Manga UK version in mono, the 1995 Streamline Pictures version in stereo, the 1979 Toho dub in mono, and then they've got the Japanese audio, so the 2019 remix in 5.1 surround, 2019 remix in stereo, the 1979 theatrical in mono, and the 1979 isolated score in mono. That's our discotheque.
Oh, I love a discotheque.
Yep.
Right. That's it for me then for recommendations.
Cool. Yeah, and I guess I'll recommend in that vein, get part 1 on Blu-ray. It's got the classic dubcast that has now circled all the way back around from part 2 through all of them back to part 1 now. So that's cool. Yeah, so you can find Fandom Post Radio anywhere that you find podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Amazon Music, Alexa, iHeartRadio, Facebook podcasts. I don't know.
All the places.
Else. Yeah, whatever. It's been a while since I've done this. Find us on all those places. You can find us on fandompost.com. You can follow us on social media, Facebook and Twitter at Fandom Post Radio. Share our stuff. Get in contact with us there. You can also get in contact with us via email, fandompostradio@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at FullMetalKyoma, read my reviews of Attack on Titan final season every week, and also read my review of Jujutsu Kaisen 0.
DJ, where can everybody find you?
Everyone can find me on Twitter at DJ No Style, or my video game at patreon.com/celibusdev. They made me take Lessons in Love out of the title because Lessons in Love has boobs in it. So you will not find the words Lessons in Love anywhere on my Patreon now.
What?
Yeah, they really did you dirty, didn't they?
They continue to do me dirty. They do not want me on there, and I'm making their lives absolutely hell.
How do you wait? I'm confused.
About?
I'm so confused. They made you take the title of your thing off your Patreon.
Because the reason that I'm still allowed on Patreon is because now Patreon has acknowledged that I have 2 different games. I have Lessons in Love, which is the normal 18+ uncensored version. And then I have the Patreon game, which is exclusive to Patreon and is titled on Patreon, The Legend of the Huggy Boy. So that is the game that exists on Patreon, and that is what is funded through Patreon now.
All right, sorry guys, I was wrong on my DJ lore.
This is okay. Sure.
Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is what my life has become.
It was going so well for a while.
I mean, it still is. It's just more complicated now because now I have 3 separate revenue streams instead of just all of my money being in one place. So it's become an inconvenience, but I'm still making a lot of fucking money.
That's all that matters in the end. No matter how many hoops you gotta jump through.
Yeah, it's you put the hoop in front of me, I'm gonna jump through it. It's better than going back to work.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at SonicBug. I am currently horrifically and terribly slacking with anything I'm doing for the website because my mental state is just I just want to play video games. So, much like mangaka disappear every time a video game they want to play comes out, I've kind of done the same for the last year and a half. But my mental health is thanking me for it. I need to get back into like my shit. So yeah.
And as usual, you can find me right here and only here because I don't want anything to do with most social media or keeping up with it. So if you want my shit-ass opinions, then you're going to have to listen to this podcast.
All right. That is everything. So I'm going to try to coordinate to record another episode not in a month. So that we can talk about this here season that's ending.
Oh shit, I gotta go catch up on all of Best Boy shit.
I'm sick and tired of people saying like, oh, it's so like underwatched and underrated. I'm like, fucking, it's cause it's fucking good.
Yeah, that fucking episode last week, oh my god. The animation, the storyboarding, the direction just blew my mind. I really wish those guys were still doing Attack on Titan.
It was very chef's kiss.
We'll talk about all that next week, I hope. Soon.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Yes. This is the plan.
Yep.
So join us next week for that, hopefully. My god. If we can get everybody in the same location at the same time. Busy adults with busy adult things to do. Thanks for joining us, and please send us some feedback. We haven't gotten feedback in a while, I don't think. So just flag us down on Twitter. It's probably the easiest way to reach us. Go check out our stuff. Go donate to the website's fund drives and stuff like that, because oof. And stay happy spring, I guess.
It is warm, and I'm glad for it. So, all right, adios, everyone.
Peace out.